If you're going to Disneyland in July 2025, then you've got to hear about these updated tips so that you don't show up unprepared, because you really don't want to do that, especially in a month that can be very busy. In this video, I'm going to cover ride closures that you need to know about, Disneyland's 70th anniversary updates. Yes, there's new stuff coming in July, plus July 4th celebrations, and an update to Lightning Lane Multipass that you may not have known about. Plus all the other things that you need to know. I'm David Vaughn, your buddy who's obsessed with Disneyland, and I'm using my obsession to give you the latest tips so that you can show up prepared for your visit. Let's get right into it. So first up, here's a list of closed attractions at Disneyland and Disney California Adventure. We've got the Matterhorn Bobsleds, which are still closed all month. Unfortunately, that's still going under refurb. We don't have a reopening date just yet, but I'll keep you posted on that. Then we have the Enchanted Tiki Room, which actually reopens July 3rd. So that's good, just in time before some of the big 70th celebrations rolling out later in the month. We also have Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln still closed. However, I have a note here calling it Walt Disney A Magical Life, which I will get to in just a moment. Star Tours closed all month. Star Tours never has attraction closures. Like, I feel like it's never under refurb, so maybe this is a long time coming. We've also got the Storybook Land Canals. This is hard because this is an original attraction along with Casey Jr.'s Circus Train. Both of these attractions are going to be closed in July. However, it looks like they're going to wait until after Disneyland's actual birthday, which is July 17th. So making sure that those attractions will be open for the guests going at that time. But then, yeah, they're seemingly need to be closed for refurbishment this summer. And we don't have a reopening date just yet. But again, I'll keep you updated on that. At Disney California Adventure, the Pixar Pal Around, so the giant Ferris wheel, is closed. And that's going to be both the swinging gondolas and the non-swinging gondolas. That whole attraction will be closed for refurbishment from July 14th through the 24th. Redwood Creek Challenge Trail also gonna be closed starting July 21st. I don't know if this is gonna be for Halloween. It's very possible that we're seeing this actually close to get ready for Oogie Boogie Bash, which opens just a few weeks after that. That would be my guess, is that they're installing everything for the Villains Grove, which is part of Oogie Boogie Bash, which debuts August 17th. And also, by the way, Oogie Boogie Bash tickets did go on sale, so if you didn't grab yours yet, you might want to. Incredicoaster's also closing at Disney California Adventure for refurbishment at the end of the month, July 28th, and we don't have a reopening date for that either. However, I actually have no idea how long this will be closed for. I know that attraction typically does get an annual refurb of some sort, but these usually don't last super long on this coaster. But the good news is Pixie Hollow has reopened in July. So this is what's crazy. So this is an attraction with Tinkerbell and her friends in Fantasyland. It's kind of like at the edge of Fantasyland, more close to Tomorrowland. However, you kind of access it right near where once you start to see the Matterhorn from Main Street. But anyway, this attraction's been closed for like, I don't know, 9 months or something like that. And it's kind of off and on open. But either way, you're going to be able to meet these characters again. I'm not sure if this is like a temporary thing or if the attraction is just like open now for everybody to experience. But it's going to be closed on Tuesdays and Thursdays. And it seems like it also has limited hours. So you only be able to access this really in the mornings and then also in the early afternoons. So it's not going to be open like all day sort of meet and greet thing. This is typically what we see with Fantasyland characters anyway. They typically only have meets in the morning and then early afternoon, and then they kind of leave for the rest of the day. So if you want to meet those, I would definitely head there before 3 p.m. And there's one other closure that we didn't talk about, which is the Main Street Cinema is going to be closed for just one day, and that's going to be on July 16th, and that's to reopen it with the new changes for Disneyland 70th, which is going to happen on July 17th. So Disneyland actually turns 70 on July 17th, even though we've been celebrating since May 16th. It's just they started the celebration a bit early, but this is gonna be the actual 70th anniversary day. So if you wanna be there for that day, there are some special experiences that happen. It's usually just a couple things, but we are gonna have experiences begin on this day as well, and those will last either permanently or into the foreseeable future. So that includes the new Walt Disney A Magical Life show, which is going to debut in the Main Street Opera House. This is going to be a new show with the very first ever Walt Disney audio animatronic. And this sounds like it's going to be pretty cool. Now, the long-term plan for this is that they're going to have great moments with Mr. Lincoln return, and then that will alternate with this Walt Disney A Magical Life story. However, when this attraction with Walt Disney animatronic debuts on July 17th, it'll just run until further notice. So we know that for a while it'll just be that show, and then eventually they'll bring back Mr. Lincoln, and those shows will rotate with each other. So you'll get either one or the other. But for the time being, you'll be able to only see the Walt Disney animatronic show. I'm excited to check it out and see what they've been cooking up. In addition, there'll be a new show on Main Street called The Last Verse, which talks about the final contribution of the Sherman Brothers to the Walt Disney Company, which is a new additional verse for It's a Small World. On top of that, It's a Small World will receive a new verse beginning July 17th, and this is the last contribution by the Sherman Brothers, so it'll be kind of a special touch added to the attraction with this little added verse to the song. If you want to see what happens on Disneyland's actual 70th anniversary on July 17th, I plan to go. So give me a subscribe, you can follow along, and you'll see a vlog showing everything that happened on that day and the little magical touches that I experienced. Plus, there's so much other fun stuff I do on this channel. I love starting this community where we just talk about theme parks like Disneyland and things to do, places to go, inspiration for your next visit. It's really fun. Next up, it's summer in Southern California, which means we typically get pretty warm weather. I just want to give you some general summertime tips if you're going. First, did you know you can bring your own water bottle to Disneyland? Yeah, you can bring your own water bottle in, refill. There's way more water bottle refill stations than you've ever seen at the parks, and you can find this if you actually search water bottle refill in the Disneyland app. It'll pull up all the locations where you can refill your water bottle. There's new ones near Big Thunder Mountain. There's new ones in Fantasyland. They're scattered all about. Disney California Adventure doesn't have as many. There's a lot fewer than at Disneyland Park, but they're adding more and more as time goes on. So I think it's nice to know that we're gonna have more spots to refill our water. And if you need some ice, you can go to any quick service location and ask for a cup of ice, and they'll just hand you one complimentary just to keep cool during the summer. Something to think about. I also recommend getting there early before the park opens. Make sure that you're beating out those summer crowds, because typically people will kind of run a little bit late and they'll show up maybe an hour, hour and a half after the park opens, and you might get really long waits to not only get into the park, but also into the parking garage. So I recommend try to show up like an hour before the park opens if you can. Get there at like 7 a.m. That way you get in, you park, you get into the gate by 7:30. They usually let people in a little bit early, and then you can kind of rope drop the park, and then you can hit up a bunch of attractions in that first hour. So you can really hit the rides that you want to experience first in that first hour, hour and a half, and get a lot out of the way and make sure that you're not hitting a lot of those lines. And then if you are planning to stay all day because you want to see those fireworks at night, just know you can take a break midday. Go hang out in downtown Disney, find a shady spot, watch a show, anything like this. Eat at a restaurant. That's always a really fun thing to do. Book your restaurants in advance, maybe for like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock when you need a midday break, and just eat, hang out in there, have a drink, whatever you need to do to just kind of take a break and get started and go back into your day. Speaking of fireworks, Wondrous Journeys with Fireworks is scheduled to play every single night at Disneyland Park at 9:35 p.m. Actually, there is going to be one change here. On July 4th, they're not going to have Wondrous Journeys. Instead, it'll be the Disneyland celebratory 4th of July fireworks, which is an annual tradition. So they won't show Wondrous Journeys that day. It'll be this sort of Independence Day fireworks display instead. So if you're going that day, just know you'll get a special fireworks just for the 4th of July. There usually also are some snacks, like you can get some sweets, 4th of July themed sweets around the month, usually like a week or two around 4th of July, where you can get, it's just usually like Rice Krispie treats, maybe caramel apples, things like that in the sweet stores. And then sometimes you might see in Avengers Campus at Pym Test Kitchen a sort of like Captain America themed snacks, like one or two, like a drink and maybe like a snack item or a merchandise item, things like that. So usually there's not super a lot of different snacks that you'll be able to purchase that are specifically for 4th of July. But if there are any updates, I will post something and you can check and just make sure you subscribe so that way you get updated about that. And let's also talk about other entertainment for the nighttime at Disneyland and also at Disney California Adventure. We have Fantasmic playing at 9:05 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. at Disneyland Park, as well as the Paint the Night Parade at 8:50 p.m. and 10:50 p.m. And these shows are scheduled every single night, so you can see them twice. If you want to see both, I highly recommend catching I personally would recommend catching the first Paint the Night Parade, staying for the fireworks, and then heading over to Fantasmic. That would be my personal recommendation. You could do the inverse too. You could watch Fantasmic, wait around, watch the fireworks from the same spot, and then see the later Paint the Night Parade. But I recommend the other way around. I think that that's typically a better type of flow. And then over at Disney California Adventure, the Better Together Parade plays at 2:30 p.m. and also 5 p.m. daily. And World of Color Happiness plays at 9 p.m. and 10:15 p.m. It looks like also daily. I'm not seeing any closures, but all these are subject to change. So just a heads up about that. There's also going to be the Celebrate Happy Cavalcade at Disneyland Park, as well as some other entertainment, including Tapestry of Happiness, which is a really cool projection show that happens on It's a Small World. So if you get a chance to see those are some really extra fun little touches you can see around the park. And just a little update for downtown Disney. Earl of Sandwich, the location closest to Disney California Adventure, is scheduled to close on July 26th, according to the Orange County Register, though it does appear the other Earl of Sandwich trailer cart will remain open until the other building is constructed near Din Tai Fung. Families with young kids also may want to check out the Bubbles experience at the Downtown Disney live stage and lawn. This is going to run from July 7th through August 10th. Here are the daytime hours and nighttime hours. It looks like there'll be bubbles and DJ music throughout the day and the night. Next up, if you're getting Lightning Lane Multipass, there are a couple big changes you should absolutely hear about. The first one is, I'm not sure if you know about this, but when Lightning Lane Multipass first rolled out, if you did not purchase it with your ticket, there was no way to add it on. However, now there is a way for you to upgrade your ticket. You can do this in the Disneyland app. There's an option to upgrade your ticket and add on Lightning Lane, so you don't have to worry about getting into the park that day and then worrying about it selling out. You can purchase it in advance. So that is an option too if you didn't initially add it onto your ticket. You can also purchase it once you get into the park too. Before I get into the other change to Lightning Lane Multipass, here is a list of attractions I recommend prioritizing based on demand. Just note, Tiana's Bayou Adventure definitely in the middle of the day on hotter days is going to have the biggest demand and can overtake all other attractions. So I would recommend, if you're planning to book this for midday when it's the hottest, book that one first. That's going to be my biggest note to you about this attraction and what to expect from it. These are generally the attractions I recommend. If you're going to start your day with one of these, I would probably do Indiana Jones if you didn't want to get a Lightning Lane for that and you just wanted to rope drop. I would typically do that, or Star Wars Rise of the Resistance. Space Mountain's also another really good choice. However, Pirates of the Caribbean no longer part of Lightning Lane Multipass, no longer something that you can book as part of that. So that was always supposed to be temporary, added on there, and not totally necessary overall. So the removal of this isn't that big of a deal. It was really offered just because Tiana's Bayou Adventure hadn't opened yet, and also Haunted Mansion had been closed, so there just needed to be an additional attraction added to Lightning Lane Multipass. And don't forget, Disneyland's 70th anniversary is still into full effect. So you want to know the special snacks are going to be available this summer, as well as special entertainment and things you absolutely cannot miss. Check out these next videos. They're going to go right into it. If you have any questions about visiting Disneyland in July, leave them in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer. Starting a community here where we talk about theme parks, Disneyland, fun things to do. So think about subscribing and liking this video to keep updated, and if you want future month updates, I'll have those as well. And don't forget, Disneyland's 70th anniversary is very much in full swing during the month of July, so check out these upcoming videos with more tips.